Hello and Happy New Year's. I just remembered that I had brought a hat, but I forgot it. It's all right.
Oh
It's
man.
already the New Year's according to you guys. So welcome to 2026. This
Woohoo.
shirt did not say 2026. It's Scarface. It's a hint as to what we're covering. Also, I realized this is our second episode of 2026. So the hat wouldn't have made sense anyway. I'm the only one lamenting about this hat. I forgot.
You don't even have your
But yes,
ears.
I don't really know. It didn't
we're
say 2026 on
yeah,
that
it said
hat.
Happy New Year or something. We're
Oh.
knee deep in 2026. Now it's the second week for all of us, not just for you guys who are watching this. But yes, welcome to the Bomb Squad. We're talking about underrated and overappreciated movies. This month we're covering it's the first of the year. And so we're covering the first films of certain directors that have gone on to make bigger films. We're trying to do films where it's like they either self-funded or wasn't like we don't want to be like, oh, here's the first film of Chris Stuckerman who made a $3 million neon film. Like that's
Yeah.
cool, but we're talking more about the people who self-did it. This is supposed to be inspiring for you guys and for us, and also we did it. It's over there. Last Ones. That movie was made for like um $10.
Yeah.
But yeah, so check it out. So today we're covering one of the cheapest movies. This movie was only made for $7,000,
hmm
and the director has gone on to make a lot of big things.
Yeah.
So come back and we tell you which famous director started on a $7,000 budget. Hey guys, if you're liking this podcast, we'd really love for you to like and subscribe. And you want to continue to support the podcast, the best way to do it right now is to watch the movies that we've made. We're not just podcasters, we're also filmmakers, and we have a couple of movies that are out. We have The Last Ones, which is a zombie drama about the reality of living in an apocalypse. We have Borderland, which is kind of a midnight movie about a woman who owes money to the cartels. And of course, we have my latest feature, The Empty Space. It's about grief, letting go, and mental illness. All of them are on Tubi and on every streaming service you can kind of find. You can always just type my name in there, Andrew Hara. And The Last Ones and The Empty Space are on Screamify and Screambox, so go check those out. We'd love for you to watch those movies. We really appreciate it. And now let's get on with the show. All right, welcome back. This is Andrew. We're covering Bomb Squad movies, and I'm here with William and Joshua F, our co-host. Also, yeah, so we're talking about really cheap movies. This movie was made for $7,000. Our movie was also made for like $10,000. But
Mhm.
so haha, we're richer than you. But today,
Inflation
we're
too. 10 years later.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
inflation, didn't count. Today we're covering 1992's El Mariachi, directed by Robert Rodriguez, who also produced, wrote it, special effects. He edited
Yeah.
it. He did the credits. He did the
He did
translation.
additional editing as well as editing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
He'd also like for a while he would always say this movie was shot, cut, and produced
Yeah.
by Robert
That was
Rodriguez.
his Spike Jones joint kind of thing.
Yeah, it was his
Yeah.
Spike Lee joint.
Spike Lee,
And
yeah,
so-
not Spike Jones.
Yeah, I was like, wait, you stole it. So yes, El Mariachi. Before we get into the story, we'll talk a little bit about the making. If you haven't read the book, especially if you want to be a filmmaker, it's called A Rebel Without a Crew. It kind of goes through his thing, but yeah, Robert Rodriguez, he wanted to make a movie. He didn't really know anyone because he was in Austin, Texas. So he kind of just decided to make it on his own. If you read the book, he goes into how he raised money. He got
Mhm.
some money from dentists, but a lot of it was raised because he was doing experimental drug trials. He was
yeah.
trying weird foods. He was giving blood. He gave a lot of blood. And so he was able to save up about $7,000. And like $7,000, if you don't know about filmmaking, like Followed that we made this year, which hopefully will come out this year, that was $15,000. And
Right.
that's a 20-30 minute short. And so $7,000 for a feature, even the last ones, I think it was more. I think it ended up being like $40,000 just to make that. And that's because you have to pay crew, even like with your own locations, you have to pay crew, cast, and everything. Rodriguez only had $7,000, so he started to really think about it. One of the things is that he decided to make the whole thing in Spanish because he figured if he couldn't sell it in America, maybe he could sell it to like Telemundo or someone to like
Yeah.
buy cheap movies. And then he also, that was like his original plan, I think, was just to sell it to Telemundo. And then he also like he went down to Mexico. One of the things that we'll talk about later is that he got like the whole town involved. One of the famous stories is that like in anywhere kind of in America especially, you have to put when you're filming something. Like I remember when we lived in LA, we were walking the boardwalk one time and they're filming Wilfred. You should go see Wilfred if you haven't seen that TV show with Elijah Wood. But they were filming Wilfred and there was a guy just being like, hey, if you guys cross this line, you might be in the background of this TV show. So just kind of keep it moving. But if you don't want to do it, you can go around.
Yeah, it's like I walked by 8 times.
Yeah.
No,
And that's why if you go see episode 3 of Wilfred, me and William are just walking back and forth. I don't know if we actually ended up in it.
It's very distracting.
We were not camera ready, yeah.
But Rodriguez, he wanted the movie to look real. He wanted to look full of people. And like Mexican people aren't exactly super known for wanting to be on camera, as I know from being a news person. So what he did was he put the signs in English in this Mexican town, so they couldn't read it, and they would just like, I mean, he technically put the sign up. And then he like, I know that at one point he was like on the back of a truck with the camera as it like pulled him for dolly shots and stuff. There's like a lot of crazy things. We highly recommend reading that book.
Yeah, it's a good
But
book.
then he went like he got it into Sundance. He was able to that's where he met Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino was there with Reservoir Dogs, which is a good example. Like, see, Reservoir Dogs, despite being Tarantino's first film, I mean, it starred Harvey Keitel, it starred Steve Buscemi, like not huge names, but it was made for like $10 million.
Right.
Like when we get into in a second, when we get into the owners of this movie, you're gonna be like, okay, I've never heard of these people.
Yeah, and I think Quentin Tarantino even had like he went to like the Sundance Institute and like had like people help him on the script. Like it was,
and he had
like,
already
a whole
sold
deal. Yeah,
what
like,
True
scripts
Romance,
before,
Natural Born
yeah.
Killer. So like people knew who he was. This was actually his
He
second
wasn't, like, a
attempt.
nobody.
If he had finished, I think it's called The Birthday Party or whatever,
Yeah,
that
I
first
believe
movie that he
so.
made,
Yeah.
we would be covering that one. But since he didn't, we're
Yeah.
covering this one. And then Robert Rodriguez, as you guys know, he went on to make Sin City. He went on to make the Spy Kids movies, his biggest franchise. He went on to make Alita, which some people love for some reason. And then he went on to make he directed a bunch of
Machete,
episodes of
yeah.
Boba Fett. I think he directed all the episodes of Boba Fett and some of the
I
Mandalorian.
think so. He
Oh,
did.
I didn't
He
know
did
that.
do Hypnotic, which I was like, "What has he done?" I was like, "Yay!"
Oh, yeah. We should
Hypnotic."
cover Hypnotic one day, but you guys should go watch Hypnotic because it is a hilarious film.
It
It's
is
probably one of the
amazing.
funniest movies I've ever seen. It's not supposed to be funny,
Okay, I was
but it is very
wondering,
funny.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where he was like, I thought of this idea when I was like 8 years old, and now I've made it into a movie. And then you watch and you're like, this is what an 8-year-old would think.
Thinks that hypnotism is after seeing like one stage show. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's amazing. We'll cover it eventually. Robert Rodriguez, don't worry. We're coming for you. We'll cover Sin City eventually, and that one, and maybe even Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico. But this is the first one. This started the genre of some exploitation movies, of which we also have. Where are you, Borderland? Right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say this feels very Borderlands. This would be a good double feature with Borderlands.
Yeah. Go watch
Yeah.
Borderland and this one. This one, Borderland's on Tubi. But yeah, so it's a exploitation film. It's about a traveling mariachi is mistaken for a criminal who uses a guitar case to hide his weapons and to look nonchalant. And so he finds himself in the middle of a cartel war. It was written and directed by Robert Rodriguez. It was also written by Carlos Galando, who also stars as the mariachi, and he also comes back for Desperado, but in a different. He still plays a mariachi, but not the mariachi.
Right.
And then
He's his
Consuelo
friend.
Gomez plays his love interest, and then Jaime de Hoyos. Jaime de Hoyos plays Biguiton. He's the second in command, but no, Peter Marquandet, who's not Mexican. He's like French or some shit, but he plays Moco. And if you know, well, we'll talk about it once we get to him. And then, of course, the last big one is Reno Martinez plays Azul, which means blue in Spanish.
Wasn't it Peter Marquardt, the only white man in the movie? He was in the same like drug trial with Rodriguez, and he's like, "Oh, this guy would like make
yes,
me good."
I think that's what it was, and
He
that's
was
how they
like-
met.
He kind of has
Yeah.
that sleazy energy, and he
Yeah.
and he doesn't speak Spanish, so he just learned all of his lines,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just like
Well,
verbatim.
we'll talk about what happened with those lines. But yes, and like that's one of the things like Rodriguez, like when he was editing this film, and again, read the book, but when he was editing the film, he found out that it was gonna cost like $7,000 to put subtitles. So he just did it himself, which is something that's like, yeah, sometimes like just get it done.
Right.
I think it's like what's too is to consider is like if someone makes a movie for super cheap today, it's like you can get a pretty good like picture quality off like an iPhone or whatever, but it's like it really like film is so expensive. So it's like think of how much of that 7,000 was just in like getting like the camera and film. And
well, what he did if is he used what's called the end. So like when you're making a film, you're shooting you know, like you're shooting you get a reel of film on a real film. Digital you shoot however, but on a real film you get a reel of film and you shoot as much. But like let's say you have 1 minute left and you have a big monologue, you're obviously not going to use that because you're going to have to cut in the middle of your scene anyway. So you just kind of throw it away. So what Rodriguez did was he bought these kind of ends of films, and what they do is they take that like last 30 seconds or minute or whatever, they tape them all together, and then you shoot on that. But I think you only end up with like a minute or a minute and a half of footage. So think about that. He was shooting, and like if you watch the movie, there's a million cuts because I think the longest take was like 5 minutes long, and then he would have to replace the shit. Yeah. So it is that thing where it's like
some good cuts though. Some
this
really
is a good one because we really wanted people like he just did it on himself, you know, like he just wanted to do it. But yes. So what did you guys think of El Mariachi?
I mean, it is crazy that he made this for like $7,000. Like there are definitely times where you can tell. I mean, obviously, it's going to be hard to like make this like an extremely Hollywood production, but like even like during some of like the crazy action scenes, like there's a part where he jumps in front of a truck and like rolls over the windshield, and like just some of the shots they were able to pull off in like just this shoestring way. Like it was really impressive. Like you can like really tell that he's going to be, you know, this like huge big budget action maker. And it's like most people usually go for like a drama, you know, for like even Reservoir Dogs is like not really an action movie. Like there's a couple of gunshots, but like this is a straight up action movie, which you don't really see that in the indie world very often. And so I don't know, dude. It's like he swung for the fences and it really worked out for him. So
I agree.
And I think that's kind of what makes it stand out is that it is a kind of a cool genre film. I mean, last week we covered Duel, which is similar, but it is, I mean, it's just like a cool, like the idea he came up with is so kind of unique and original that it's kind of like, hell yeah.
It's
right.
like,
why did you do
like fun Sergio Leone?
Yeah, because I had actually heard about this. My dad had like a VHS bootleg of it that he probably like got in South America, and he was like so hyped on it. I was like, oh, this movie like weirdly achieved like legend status, like like pretty quickly, and then so I've seen it like a dozen times. Just
well, if you've never lived on the border, you should know that there's a pretty big, I don't know if there still is, but there's a pretty big illegal tape movie market on the border, near the border. And so like, El Mariachi went crazy platinum on the illegal tape selling in Latin America. It's kind of like how Rambo like blew up in Burma just because it's about Burma.
Right.
And I think like
I got this like on a VHS tape. It looks kind of like those ones over there that are like that are taped over, and it just said El Mariachi on the side, and it kind of like, I think that makes it even cooler because it does end up feeling like, when I first saw it, I was like, did you make this? Like, what the fuck is this movie?
Right. And it has like a homemade quality to it too, like since it is so cheap. Like there are some like one part, I know we'll kind of get into it, but there's like a part like a lady's like in a bikini and she like jumps in the pool, but she just seems like such a regular person that it's like I feel like I'm watching someone's home movie that I shouldn't be watching. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's very like like everyone feels like they live in that town for real, and I think did like most of them did.
I think that adds too, because like, okay, so we'll get into it. So it starts off, and we're introduced to Azul, who's a cartel member. He's in jail, and he's like doing work, and he's like on the phone.
He has a bag phone
in jail. Yeah, again,
this was 1990.
If you don't know anything about Mexico, their jails don't really, like, if you have the money, the jail is just like a place you stay at for a while. Pablo Escobar famously like ran his entire cartel out of his jail. He ended up turning it into his own personal fortress, and so like that's just kind of a thing, which again makes it cool because it's like that's one of the things that we like about Borderland and about this one is that where like neither of them really explain to you how the cartels work. It's just like you have to understand how they work, or at least like
Right.
you just have to be on board. Like you don't have to
Yeah,
necessarily know that that's how cartels work, but you have to be on board that this cartel leader is kind of like running things from inside his cell.
Yeah.
it does a good job giving you information that like it's like
Yeah.
it really does kind of just drop you into it, but there's enough like context that's just like I don't know. This movie's only 70 minutes, but it's really good about like giving you everything you need. You know?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
extremely
yeah.
clear. Yeah.
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 And
There's
then
like a
he gets a
complicated plot.
call. He gets a call from his partner Moko, who dresses in all white all the time.
Yeah.
And and so he's telling them like, "Hey, or he calls them and he's like, "Hey man, I just want to talk to you. I know I owe you money, but I don't want but I don't know, you might not be using it too much. I know you're running things out of the jail." And Azul's like, "Well, you owe me that money because I came to jail for you," which again is kind of a funny thing because again, Azul's not really in jail; he's just pretending to be.
Yeah.
And so while he's on the phone, and one of the good things about Moko is he dresses all in white. He's very like everyone is dressed like cartel members. Like Azul, who's supposed to be like the big cartel member, he's dressed in a plain black shirt or plain navy shirt, and then a
Like a
leather
leather
vest.
black vest. Yeah.
Yeah.
and his beans. But that's how cartel members dress. If you've ever seen them,
But what I find
Yeah.
funny too about Mboko is that his hair's fully slicked back. He's always next to the pool. He's always either angrily taking off or putting on sunglasses in all of his
Yeah.
conversations. he's just permanently angry, but also poolside, and I love it.
Yeah.
You know?
and not only that, but yeah, this is where if you know anything about Spanish, Moko isn't even getting close to those words. Like, first of all, the dialogue they gave him is like he's basically talking like, "Hello, welcome to the store. I am
like
Moko."
super formal. Like
And even then, like you can tell he's just not really.
He's just
He's not a native speaker,
he
yeah.
like over enunciates every word. Like
Yeah,
it's
and
like
his
one of
dialogue
those
is
like when you're trying to learn a language. Yeah.
his dialogue is very very basic. He's like there's also funny things because like if you see this in Spanish, the subtitles are like a little off, but it's like it takes away a little bit of the flavor, but you don't really lose anything. Like so, Moko is sending guys to kill Azul. They get in there, and that's when they realize that he runs the jail. Like the guard goes and warns him. They get all their guns and
Right.
stuff, and so when the people come in, they're ambushed immediately. And then like Azul's still talking to Moko, and he's like, "Hey Moko, your men want to talk to you." And
Yeah.
in the subtitles it says, "Your men want to talk to you," and they're gonna scream. But in what he really says is, "Your men want to talk to you," and they're gonna scream it. Which it's like it's not that off, but like the
Yeah, it's
flavor
like-
of the
Yeah,
language.
you miss like jokes and like kind of like
The-
smaller.
the
Yeah.
translate, yeah.
things, for
The
sure.
Like little
poetry.
turns of phrase. and
The
stuff.
poetry,
Yeah.
yeah, which I feel like that's probably pretty common for like a lot of foreign films. It's
Yeah.
like
It
you're always
makes
going to
me
be
sad.
missing something. Yeah,
Yeah. It makes me
But-
sad that I don't 100% understand what the whales and Avatar are saying. I have to rely on
The
subtitles.
Navi.
the nightmares I've had. Yeah,
But
No, the
there is
Navi
a
are
lot
the
of
blue
just
people,
like
the whales are the whales.
there's a lot of funny just visual gags in this too because the female secure like the prison guard
Yeah.
doesn't say anything, but first she's bribed by the guys coming to kill Azul, and then he
Yeah.
bribes her as he's leaving.
Right.
There's a
and she
lot of
just like
those, yeah.
kind of shrugs and takes it. You know, it's just very like just another day. You know,
Or like there's that guy who's asleep and then like it's just like he's actually a guard, but he's just been sleeping the whole time.
yeah,
And so after that, after he's attacked, he's like, "Moko, I'm gonna come kill you." And so he takes off. And then that's where we leave him. And then we cut to this mariachi who's coming into town. He's coming to this cartel town to just get work. He's a real mariachi. He's talking about how much he loves the music. He does a voiceover. The actor Carlos Garando is really good as the mariachi. And I think that
yeah,
it kind of helps that none of them are really actual actors. Like sometimes you see movies where it's like they have one real actor and he really stands out.
right.
But I think
right.
because these guys are so naturalistic, like nobody really gives a bad performance. And I think also because one of the things that I think Robert Rodriguez does really well is wardrobe. Like he knows how to set his characters up so they're instantly recognizable, whether it's
Mhm.
mariachi, whether it's Azul, Moko being in all white, even later when it's like Danny Trejo has one of the most distinct looks of anyone ever. And like
Yeah,
so like Rodriguez puts them very strategically so he stands out.
Right, and like they all like wear different colors. Like there's like the one like secondhand man who like always wears like a red shirt. Like it's like not really super wild, but it's like every time you see that guy,
It's
you've seen him.
distinct.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and he always wears that shirt. And like the three girls that stay that come in later, like they always wear the same clothes, and so it's like you always know who people
women,
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
And
is
so
true.
then so then he goes into this bar, and like this is kind of,
He
and I think,
before the bar, he gets a free coconut on the edge of
Yes.
town.
oh yes,
And he
Right.
he's like, oh, this is good, my good luck. And I
Like,
believe
let's look at that.
one of the funny parts of the filming was because Robert Rodriguez talks about this like in his book about what a screw up it is, where he's like, oh, I forgot to film him paying for the coconut, so I had to write in a line that every new visitor to town
Gets
gets a free coconut.
Yeah.
My kind of town.
And
That's also
but he, like,
such like a screenwriter thing where it's like, oh, everyone's gonna call it this plot hole of how he didn't pay for
no
it.
one would have
Right.
noticed or
Does
cared.
you never see anyone pay for anything?
But he
Yeah.
brings up the free coconut more than once. It's like it really stuck in his mind, and I find that
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, people are just gonna notice, you know.
Yeah. Listen, also from the lessons of Borderland, sometimes you got to put a little bit of voiceover in there just to kind of get the plot going and make sure everyone understands exactly what's happening. But yes, so then he goes into this bar, and this is like my favorite part of the whole movie because he's like, "Oh, I want to be a mariachi. I can play, like I can guarantee you customers and everything like that." And then the bartender's like, "Mariachi? Well, I don't want just one mariachi when I can get a whole band."
Get a
And then
whole
he
band, yeah.
signals the guy in the corner who's asleep. The guy wakes up despite the fact that he just kind of gave him a head nod. He puts he puts two stools in front of him, then brings out a big ass keyboard and then presses
Yeah.
like the automatic button. And it's like, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
And he just stands there like this. And he's like,
And he also like
Yeah.
he plays like one chord that somehow magically plays like an entire like melody in a different song.
It's all
And,
just pre-programmed. into
yeah.
the best part is the bartender's like, yeah, look, like he's like, what did I tell you? And it's like the funniest.
Like, okay.
And I think one of the cool things, and this is also Rodriguez, we forgot to mention this, but he also does the score for a lot of his movies, much like Carpenter. And the score is really good. Like, it's not the most expansive score, but it kind of shows you what you can do with score because it always feels like it feels like those old 90s, like action movies where it's a lot of like, the simple notes, but it's kind of like showing you where to go and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah. But no, I think that works really well in its favor. And so after that, he kind of leaves, and that's when Azul comes in, and then the bartender's like, "What is it? The day of the mariachis?"
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like a little group of guys that are like chilling in there, and like they're unimpressed by like everything. And then what does he? He starts like talking like, "Do you guys know Moko?" Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like he owns this bar. Yeah.
This is like, oh, also before we continue, I think this bar is the same bar that Antonio Banderas goes into at the very beginning of Desperado. If it's not the same bar, they found one very similar in Desperado because it looks exactly the same. There's like a big bar in the middle of it.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And like even continuing on to like Once Upon a Time in Mexico, like it all feels like it's cool that he like made this like super shoestring budget film, but then like the aesthetic is like already there
like,
from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
all three of
core
those movies
idea.
like look the exact same.
Yeah.
Cool.
I also I love his this is one of those things. Azul, he always orders a beer, but he insists that it be in the bottle, and because the bartender will start pouring it and then just have to like drink what he's poured.
Yeah.
So like it's like give him a bottle, but Azul is correct. Beer does taste better from a bottle than a glass. So I'm actually with him there.
I think one of the funny things is because he comes in and he's like, "Hey, I'm looking for my friend Moko." And then, like, the cartel guys just kind of start giving him way too much information. They're like,
"Oh, yeah, that's the joint, dude. We work for him. He's our bro."
For him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
he comes in a lot.
Like, you guys are criminals.
If I was wrong, I'd be like, you guys are all fired. What the hell is going on?
And then
They
he
deserve to
casually,
die.
I like because he has his guitar case. He just casually puts it in one of their laps.
Yeah, he just
and
holds
then
it.
just
Mhm.
flips it open, and then
The
just
skinny
like
guy, yeah.
executes all three of them.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, right before he does that, because he asks for a beer in a bottle. They both only drink out of bottles. Him and the mariachi, Azul and the mariachi. They have similarities.
But the mariachi does not drink alcohol. He only drinks soda.
Yes, the mariachi does
That's-
not drink alcohol.
He
but,
is innocent.
but they both drink out of bottle. And so, like, at first, he goes, "I want a beer," and then the bartender's like, "Get him a beer," and he's like pouring it in a cup, and then he's like, "In the
Idiot.
bottle, way," and then the guy's
Yeah.
like, "I just starts
Okay.
drinking it."
It's
It's
I
like-
messed up again.
yeah.
Big
It's so
time.
funny because it's those kind of. I think those are the moments that really make this movie stand out. Like the kind
Yeah,
of
there's
the
like
silly parts
flourishes.
that kind of make the world feel lived in. You know.
Yeah.
And also,
Like, it's
yes,
like
we
such, like, a
forgot to
crime-riddled
say
place. Oh, what's
that we said it in the intro, but yes, Azul has gotten his guitar case, and his guitar case, when he opens it up, is full of guns and knives, and there's a hand grenade in
It
there.
has
that
like
he-
a brass
Right.
knuckles, like a ninja
Yeah.
star, just
Yeah.
like
My-
everything.
My favorite thing about all of the mariachi movies is how much is how like full he can fill those guitar cases with guns, and this one in Desperado. It's like just put as many guns. It's like a Looney
Right.
Tunes version of a gun dog.
Yeah.
And so yes, he kills them, and then he's like, "I'm coming for you, Moko." And then that's when and then Moko finds out about it, and so they put a hit on him. And so now everyone's looking for the new mariachi in town, not knowing that there's actually two mariachis in town. And then his head in command, which again has such a cool look. He's always wearing aviator glasses. He's always wearing red flannel. He has like
Yeah.
the big Mexican mustaches that we can grow. He just
Well,
looks like
some
he looks
people-
like the most second in command guy who's ever existed in the world.
Yeah.
chief underling. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's when the mariachi goes to the second bar to try.
No,
and
that's where
solve
he
it.
goes to a hotel, and no, that guy
No,
goes
he
to a
does.
hotel.
He
and
goes to
tells
the
them-
bar first.
Yeah,
because
but
he meets the girl before he goes to the.
But the second in command tells the hotel guy, like, "Hey, if when I'm looking for a mariachi, if anyone comes up as a mariachi, let us know." And then the guy's like, "Or what? You're gonna kill me?" And he's like, "I'm not, but he is." And so
Yeah.
then they go, and that's when the
Yeah.
mariachi goes to the second bar, and that's where he meets the love of his life. What is her name?
Yeah.
Domino.
Domino, yeah, and he has an amazing line here because when he's first walking into town, he sees a turtle and he's like, "Oh, a turtle," and then when he meets this one, he's like, "Oh, and that was the most beautiful thing I'd laid eyes on that day, besides the turtle,
Besides
of
the
course."
turtle, yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Yeah,
He loves turtles.
it's not.
He's a
It's
man
not
of skill.
anything. But yeah, this woman owns this bar, Domino.
yeah,
Yeah.
She owns this bar, and then she kind of tells them about. She also doesn't want a mariachi because nobody does. And they have like a little meet cute where they're kind of talking
a little
about.
backboard. This is where he explains. He's like, "Oh, I don't drink or smoke because it would affect my playing." And that is the first musician I've ever heard of that does not drink
Yeah.
or
I
smoke.
was like, well, you can get by. You can get by, my guy.
Well, yeah, if you're
Can have
trying
a
to
little
get
one.
by in Mexico in the '90s, you're probably not gonna want to drink your salary away.
But it does show
That's
that
true.
he's
That
kind
is
of like
true.
he's an innocent. Like he has no
Right.
vices essentially.
He
And I
couldn't
mean, he
be
even looks
more
that way
innocent.
too. Like his
Yeah.
face is like,
Yeah,
like, you know, he's like a
got those,
non-actor, but like
eyes.
he looks just like the part that he needs to play. Like he
very
like
soulful. Yeah.
very wide-eyed. Like he doesn't look like he's like a kid or anything like that, but he does have like this just sort of like innate innocence that I think really elevates the role for sure.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that he's not a killer, where Azul looks
Mhm.
a lot like a killer.
Yeah.
And so once they talk, he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go look for a hotel," and that's when he goes to the hotel to get the room. And then also, real fast, the clerk of the hotel. There was like a couple of people who the clerk of the hotel is actually played by the mayor, and that was because Rodriguez like bribed him and gave him a part in the movie so that they could film in the town. Also, two of the people that they meet is like there are two journalists who are pretty critical of Rodriguez coming into the city and filming a movie. So again, he just gave them parts, and they're like, "Okay, I'm cool with it."
You know who
So
they
again,
played?
bribe. What?
Do you know who the journalist played by any chance?
I think they play the two guys in the first bar, the ones who are just kind of sitting there.
Nice.
But yes, so he goes to this hotel, and then of course the hotel clerk immediately calls the cartel, and then they're coming, and they go to the wrong room. It's like, God, these guys suck at their job.
Yeah.
And they're looking for what's his face, and then they like the hotel clerk has to come out and be like, not that room, 10. And that's when the mariachi's like coming back from getting ice, and so he looks at the room and he notices that his room is 10. So now he takes off running, and this is the first real big action scene, because like when they kill, like, oh, when like, here's the thing about this movie: when anyone gets shot, you can kind of see their squibs underneath their shirts.
Oh
Yeah.
for sure.
But they are meaty. They are good meaty
wires.
squibs.
Yeah, every
but
shot is like humongous in this movie.
it's definitely one of those things though where they'll have a squib and then 2 seconds later as they're falling they won't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine. You
It's
know?
also like, and I think what else helps this movie, because like he's running from the guys, they're like chasing him out the hotel. They're like, at one point he's running down the street and they're like chasing him, and again everything looks super great. But there's like a part where there's a truck coming towards them, and they like, the guys stop and they get out and they're like aiming their guns. So he runs on top of the truck and they're like shooting at him, and then they accidentally point the guns at each other and shoot each other, and then they die.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that doesn't work with people. Like, you can see, like, that might work with a spaceship or something, but like with a
Right,
person,
right.
you can see it. But like the fact that it's like the violence in this movie is kind of that hyper violent, but also like Looney Tune logic of the
It's
90s.
silly.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is something about it too, that like, especially towards the end, where like once again, like, just since everybody looks like such like a normal person, like whenever someone gets shot, and like, because everyone dies in like slow motion, like kind of
Yeah.
like Peckinpah sort of,
Yeah.
and it's like they all just like look like normal dudes, and it's like it just feels like such an underground film that like at a certain point the violence was like starting to get to me. I was like,
Yeah.
this movie's kind of like
It
raw.
is.
Like, I don't
And
know.
I think it's because as you kind of get, you do more films, you realize like, oh, here's when I should do extreme violence, here's when I shouldn't. But like at the very beginning, you could tell Rodriguez is kind of wanting to do extreme violence with everything, and there's like a scene
Right.
later where it's super like extreme, and you're like, Jesus, man.
Right.
And so we'll
This
talk
is
about
effective,
it.
my friend.
So there's a scene where then Azul and Moko talk again, and also like, yeah, Azul, like, that's how you know, because Azul is supposed to be like this big enforcer, and he is a huge guy, but like this scene where he's talking, doesn't have a shirt on, and he just looks like an uncle. Like, he looks like your Mexican uncle who's like, you don't know
Right.
what his job is,
Yeah.
and he's probably in the cartel. That might be
Yeah.
more for our
Like,
Mexican.
I feel like I
So
know
this
all these.
is the
people.
first time
Yeah.
he wakes up next to 3 women, right?
Yes, yeah,
They
yeah.
just like, because they
Yeah.
slowly pass him the phone as it pans over their bodies, but it's
Yeah.
also like,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like, oh, like he's like, but it's also just like a single room with like a mattress and a TV. I love
Right.
that it's like
It's very-
like dingy but
Yeah,
like
like a pool
luxurious
table,
for
maybe.
him.
Yeah.
You know?
Even like Moko's
Yeah.
house is kind of like, it has that kind of, it's supposed to be a big mansion, but it's also like, it's on a big pull up.
It's just in
Yeah,
a
it's like on a big
neighborhood.
plot of land.
Yeah.
But then they have a conversation because he's like, hey, heard you took out 10 of my guys. I should have just paid you. And Azul's like, no, it was only 6 guys. He's like, it was 10. And he was like, no. And they like go back and forth again, like a Tom and Jerry cartoon.
I was
where it's like,
counting.
it's 10. No, it's 6. Because, of course, El Mariachi killed 4 of those guys. So 6 plus 4.
Right.
And so then he's like, well, it doesn't matter because I'm going to come kill you. And it's like, yeah, why were we arguing? Why were we arguing?
Yeah.
It's a good scene though. Like,
Just
And
like
so-
bullshit. Yeah.
what I love
Okay.
too, because the mariachi does go back then to the girls' room. He's like, "Hey, I just like got in this really bad thing. Can I like hide out here a while and then also play music?" It's like, wait, you're still just gonna try being a mariachi in
Yeah,
this
he's on the
town?
job.
I know. Dude, he believes in his
You
dreams.
can't
Like,
just stop.
He's
Yeah,
like,
stop.
this me killing 4 guys thing probably gonna blow over, and then I'll just get
Right, not a
back
big
to
deal.
like doing gigs.
Yeah.
This
Then
tiny
it's-
little town.
then
He
That
it's
needs
is true.
money.
He is broke.
And so yeah, she's like, you can go stay upstairs, and she's like, who are, like, she kind of figures out what's going on, and so she talks to her, or she's like, let me make some calls, and then I think I can solve this. Is it here where she tells them, because Moko owns the bar, and she's also kind of into her as well.
Yeah,
And
he's
so-
kind of buying her a lot of gifts.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing where he likes her, so he's like just spoiling the shit out of her, you know.
I think we find that out
I think
later.
Right,
Like,
but
after
they
his
do
first
kind of have
performance.
hints of it because she has a conversation. I don't know if it's with him or one of his guys, but it's kind of like, oh, there's already a connection there, and you don't know
And
why.
yeah,
You know?
'cause I think the first
Mhm.
time William's right, she just says that she knows them and she's gonna make some phone calls. She hasn't told them the extent.
Yeah.
And so then that's when she tells him, that's when he tells her, or the cartel tells them, like, oh no, this is a killer. Uh, don't like be around him or whatever. And so
Yeah, like he has a good
Right.
car case full
He
of
has a bunch of
weapons.
guns.
Like
Yeah.
that's his cover. You know.
oh, and then there's a scene where because there is an earlier scene where the two mariachis finally meet and they accidentally exchange.
Not
Yeah.
yet. No,
Is
no,
that
not
later?
yet.
That's like later.
No,
I
because
think.
first he goes upstairs and he's like, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna take a bath.
Oh, this is the shower scene. Yes.
And then she comes
Yeah,
in.
I don't even think
We
he's
should
played his
say
first
she has a
performance yet.
dog that is just in this room. And
Yeah.
this
Oh,
dog
yeah.
is just constantly sleeping. He does
Well, and-
nothing. He is the
Just
Benny
chilling,
of this
yeah.
film.
It's very
Yeah.
funny too because she's like, "Oh, go to my room. Just be careful because my pit bull is up there." And that dog is not a pit bull. That dog, maybe he's a pit bull
Yeah.
mix, but he's like the laziest dog
Yeah.
you've ever seen.
It's like a boxer.
Yeah, and so it's very funny that she's like, "Oh yeah, watch out for my dog." It's like the nicest dog. But he goes and takes a
Yeah.
shower. He's taking a bath, and she comes in after she finds out, and so she pulls a knife on him, and she's like, "Are you really a mariachi or are you a killer?" He's like, "I'm really a mariachi," and so she takes out the guitar and she's like,
She fully opens the case. This is one for foot guys, of which I am not. But she fully opens it with just her feet.
"Yeah."
Flips.
This is when
I know
flips
Tarantino was like,
this is the scene he noticed. Yeah.
Oh.
it's like I just like to think that they're in Sundance, they're watching movies, and then she sees that scene where she opens the guitar case with her foot, and he's like, "Hey, find me that director.
Yeah.
Let me."
It's like, I need to know
Who did
more
that
about
Let's
foot
talk to
guitar
that
Yeah,
guy.
stuff?
because she's holding him at like knife
That
point
was
with the
tight.
letter
Yeah.
opener, though he doesn't know it's a letter opener, and then so she has to open it with just her foot.
Right.
Flips it open, sees the guitar, and then she's like, "Then play something," and he like
Yeah.
instantly starts playing it in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's playing like a folklore song that's like a silly. Essentially, what she tells him to play anything, and he's like, "I don't know," and she's like, "Play now." And so he essentially sings like the Mexican equivalent of singing like "Jingle Bells, Batman Smells." Like it's just kind of
Right.
this
Right.
silly song that proves that he knows how to sing and play the guitar. But it's like, why would you play that? You know?
Right.
He's talking about like his underwear and like why can't like he doesn't have any clothes on, so why he's like scared to sing and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a very funny scene, and that's when she's like, okay, now she believes him. Right.
Yes, and then
That's
he-
when
That's
And
when
then-
he's like, "Okay, I need to go get my money from the hotel." So he leaves briefly, and that's when
Yeah.
Azul comes in briefly, and then sets his guitar down right next to the mariachi's guitar,
Right.
and then that's
the
where the switch
mariachi-
happens.
because he had to leave his guitar during the first chase, and now he's gonna come get it back, and that's when he comes, and that's when they exchange guitars, and then there's like a really cool scene where he's like where they catch Azul, and they're like, "Hey man," which is also like, shouldn't you guys know who this guy was? Like, how far ago was this betrayal?
Right. Right.
But
yeah.
I like to assume with how Keystone cops these guys are, they're just constantly being replaced because they're being murdered.
I do like this too because Azul's like has like two henchmen who are
Yeah.
like totally useless because they're like watching Azul like waiting, and then they see these three guys just like with guns to his head. They're like, "He's got it," and just like
Yeah.
drive away.
Right. Yeah. Don't
Like,
worry.
he
Don't
can
worry.
handle it. They
Yeah.
just peel out of their truck, you know.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
there's like there's a funny part where they have him like with the guns on him, and they're like, okay, if this is just a mariachi on Azul, and they're like, if this is just a mariachi guitar, we'll let you go, but if it's not, we're gonna kill you. So they open it, and that's when they realize that it has been exchanged.
It is a guitar,
And then they
yeah.
see the other mariachi,
Mhm.
and they're like, that's him. And then Azul's just like,
Yeah, he gives it like the biggest
Gotta
shitty grin to the other mariachi as he like
He's like,
walks
"What?"
away.
it's also like, shouldn't you use this
This is
to
on
your
you, my
advantage
guy.
and kill these guys when they're not facing you? But he's not thinking about it.
And this is like the giant chase, right, through like the whole
Yeah.
city. This is like whenever he like jumps on the truck and like, this is like when the action like really starts to like.
Yes, yeah.
'Cause I think he's like shot it sequentially, and it's like you can kind of tell that like
He was
even
learning.
during like, the shooting of the movie, like it was like getting
Yeah.
better. Yeah, like this is like when it really started to like pop
Yeah.
off for me.
Because
Yeah,
this
that's
is when
good,
like he
because
opened that he finds the guns and
He
now
realizes
he's
he
like,
has the
fighting them.
guns.
Yeah.
Yes, and he
It's
actually
like
has
that.
to use them. Yeah.
And I like that they don't like I feel like if you made this movie now, like there'd be the part where he like shoots somebody, and then it would be like close up on his face and like
Yeah.
air. What have
Yeah.
I done? But it's like it writes that level of cartoony so well that it's like he looks kind of
It's
miffed
not.
and like
He
maybe
does.
a little guilty,
To
but
be
it's like not a big
fair,
deal.
he
It's
does
cool.
have a lot. This is definitely also a first film thing or a David Chase thing because this happens on the Surprise. He has a lot of dreams about like premonitions of like big
Yeah.
bad things. He keeps
Oh,
having
yeah.
these like very brief things where he like sees the girl all in blood or he's like running through a door. It's very like dream like oh a nightmare in a
Yeah.
movie.
A kid
And,
kicks a
I
head in
kind
or
of thought about
something.
whether to bring up the dreams or not because they're so inconsequential.
they're so nothing, but that's like
I thought they were gonna be like his past.
Yeah, but
I
they're
was like,
not.
oh, like this is when his
Or
dad
like
re-
died.
maybe he'll get to
Yeah,
see that
just like
kid or
okay,
something, but no, the kid
it,
doesn't. I don't even know
it,
if the kid exists. He's
It
just
yeah,
really is just one of those like
right.
we need a
I thought he
few
was the kid.
minutes. Let's show that he's like troubled.
Yeah,
Here
like,
are
well,
some bad dreams
Yeah,
that we can
yeah.
film real
Let's-
quick.
This is where his music
Yeah.
comes from. These
Yeah.
troubled dreams.
And so then that he gets away, and that night, that's when Dominio tells him about her complicated history with Moko. He likes her, but she's not. I mean, he's a cartel member, so it's not like she really likes him back that much. But
Yeah,
he pays for everything. Which if
Yeah, he's trapped.
it's
her,
kind of
essentially.
it's like Nicole
Yeah.
Kidman in Moulin Rouge. She's
Yeah.
she's trapped under the thumb of the local
Yeah.
despot, essentially.
or it's like
Mhm.
Selma Hayek in Desperado. Apparently, Robert Rodriguez was like, nobody saw it. I'll just have the same
like this idea.
backstory.
It's just a trope. But,
Yeah, all
but I
good,
do
all
because
good.
first he's like, "Oh, if you're broke, how do you own such a nice like bar?" He's like, "Oh, you bought this for me," and he's like, "Oh, and then the last thing you bought for me was that motorcycle you see outside." I actually love that they bring that up because it does come back into the plot. You know,
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
it's like nothing is
Yeah.
like left on the table except
Right.
his dreams. Yeah,
yeah, and that's when they do capture him, and the guy ends up taking him to Moko, and that's when
Oh,
Moko's
see.
like,
that's a pretty good sequence though because he's like running away and then he like dives into the back of a truck and then the guy calls he's like, "Yeah, he dove into the back of my truck." I'm just
Right,
we
gonna,
want me
like,
to take him.
yeah.
Yeah, he
just
tells
pull
them
him
we want
around
him to take him.
and they knock him out.
That's so funny too. Yeah, which is like that's such a cool that's one of those scenes where it's like, oh yeah, why hadn't another movie thought of that yet? You know, like he accidentally jumped to where he's being
Right,
captured.
right.
Into the henchman's grip. Yeah, it's good.
And I feel like the city that they chose to use for this movie like works for that like one gag specifically because it's like it does feel like huge and alive, but it also feels like kind of like small and communal at the same
Yeah.
time. Like, and I think that just like shooting on the street whenever people were like going about their day really does kind of make it feel like there's a lot going on. But it like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like it feels like personal but also busy. Like the location he chose, I just think like really works for like kind of like amping up like the lack of budget.
Yeah.
Like it kind of covers up some like you know what I mean? Like it's not like a little town. It's not like they're shooting super
Right,
guerrilla.
right.
Like it's a good
And it's
medium.
the thing where a lot of Mexican towns are like dense, even if they're kind of small. Like everything is, there's not a lot of big yards in Mexican towns. They're just real packed in together, and so it makes the city
right, like
feel
squares and stuff.
like a lot more, not just bigger, but more lively. But also makes it feel like there's not a lot of places to hide because there's not like, oh, let me hide behind this alley. It's like no,
Right.
there are no alleys. Alleys are like that. Big,
Yeah.
you know?
It's all just kind of
Right.
condensed.
Yeah.
And I do like that. It's also it feels very real. I almost feel like if you watch a movie like made any time in the last 10 years and someone goes to like a hotel room, it's gonna look like one of like 3 hotel rooms. Even if it's supposed to be like run down. It's like
right.
but in this it's like, no, that's definitely the hotel in this dinky little town. Like with like the chipped like teal
Right.
paint and everything. I don't know, it just feels
Yeah.
very authentic.
Yeah, and like the staircase, like it all just like looks. So
I know.
real.
I love that staircase.
Just it's been there
Yeah.
forever. Yeah.
And so eventually they find out like, no, that's not him. And then we cut back to Azul, who's now at Domino's bar, and he's like, okay, if I don't stop Moko, then he's gonna kill the mariachi and myself, but more so the mariachi for Domino's. Like she doesn't care about him. And so they both agree to go there to save the mariachi and also to get revenge and everything. But when they arrive, like, Dominio, what are you doing? Because he like pretends to hold her hostage. He's like, I'm gonna kill her unless you give me my money. I just want my money. And then Moko comes out, and then
Yeah.
also like, so the guy, his second in command, he has like the scruff on his face, and so Moko every time he comes out, he lights his match on his
Off the
like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's
so
like his
It's
like
the
thing.
coolest
Yeah,
thing ever. He's like,
that would hurt so bad. I know that's the
yeah,
point
I
that he's
know.
super
yeah.
disrespectful, but I'm like, oh,
I also
scratch
just
at
want to
your
know how they
face.
did that because there's no way that would actually work. It just
I
seems so
know.
hard. Yeah.
yeah,
Um. And
yeah.
so, but
No.
then as they're like kind of negotiating, Domingo's like, "Oh, but you can't hurt the mariachi. Don't hurt him." And Moko's like, "What?" Apparently, Moko's a very jealous man, which Domingo should have known. But so he
Yeah,
She's
he's
blinded
an
by
iron
love.
man.
exactly, and so he ends up becoming super jealous and killing the both of them. And that's when the mariachi he's gotten back. He finds the motorcycle and he takes off, and so he's coming to stop him. And then he gets there and it's too late. She's already passed. Both Azul and her are dead, and also kind of her fault, but that's not important. So he's looking over the body and he's like, what the fuck? And so then Moko hasn't put his hands up. And this is the scene I was talking about because then Moko's like, you took my girl, so I'm gonna take your hand. And he shakes the hand,
Yeah,
and his hand literally like it falls apart right here. And it's like splitting.
yeah.
Yes.
A hole blows in
It's
his
so
hand. How do you do that?
disgusting. Which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yeah, and he's like waving it
Yeah, and he's
around
like,
for a
"Ah,"
while, and it's
it's
like,
like
okay, let's,
flopping.
let's
It's
move
such a
on.
gross moment for like we just saw his girlfriend die, and now
Yeah, but
his
it's showing his dream
Right.
is destroyed. He'll
yeah.
never play guitar that well again. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
so
for
he
sure.
immediately grabs a gun and kills Moko, and then the guys are like, "Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, I
We're
like because
really
they all
bad at
just
our
they
job."
all
Yeah,
see it coming as Moko's doing the most insane laugh ever. He's
Yeah,
just like,
hmm
and he's like,
and, and then they see the mariachi grab the gun, light it up, and they all just like quickly
Yeah.
move out of the way and just let Moko get
yeah,
executed. And then they just all
Oh.
kind of look, and then his henchman just lights a match off his dead face.
Yeah.
So that was a nice
Yeah.
touch.
yeah. He brings it back
I
third
know,
time.
man.
Yeah,
And so then the mariachi decides that he's gonna take the guitar case. He's gonna go to the next town and see what the future holds.
And
But we see that he now has a metal hand that's only 3 fingers, and it like clinks onto the. He
hmm
takes the dog too, and it clinks onto the motorcycle, and it's like cha-chink. And it's like, what exactly do
yeah,
you
yeah.
think
we
people
should
with
also
no
say
hands
this
have?
metal hand is clearly made of tape mostly, but
Yeah,
that's fine.
Right,
it's
like a
like
black
tape and then
leather
like a
tape.
silver tip on each one, and he just
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he has the
yeah,
motorcycle, the dog, and then the turtle walks by one last time as
yeah.
he heads off to his
hmm
destiny. You know.
He leaves, and he's also
And I
like
think the dog is chained to
he
him.
goes. One thing he says is he's like, with the dog, the mariachi case full of guns, and the motorcycle, I'm ready for whatever comes up. It's like, what do you think is going to come up that you would need? These
Right.
very
It's your
specific
first
Does
things.
I
bout
feel
of
like
violence. Yeah.
because essentially it's been a long time since I've seen Desperado. The dog does not come back. I think.
No, the dog does not come back, and also his metal hand does not come back. That's what I want to talk about. So in the sequel, Desperado, if you don't know, is a sequel to El Mariachi. That's why you see Moco at the very beginning. The
And he has a
Carlos
flashback.
Yeah, he has a
Yeah.
flashback to both Moko and his henchman. He does the cigarette thing because Robert Rodriguez knew you don't get rid of that. You don't. You save that for 2 movies. There's no way you could just have that one. And so Antonio Banderas takes over the role of El Mariachi. Carlos Garando, who was in this one, was El Mariachi. He comes back as one of his friends who ends up helping him at the very end.
They kind of imply there's an entire band of assassin mariachis out there, and that this
Yeah.
is just like another one. And I do love that. That's like such a
Yeah,
cool,
which doesn't
like,
make any sense if for
Yeah.
this to be. It's like the implication is that this mariachi met other mariachis and told them how to do mariachis with guns and stuff.
yeah.
Because like, why would does that mean Azul had partners? that decided to
And the
team
other
up?
ones don't
Right,
like they don't
right.
have the guitar case full of weapons. They have like they have like rocket
Yeah, one of
launcher
them-
like guitar
Yeah,
cases
one of
and
them has
stuff.
Yeah.
machine guns and one of them has a rocket launcher. It's very cool. Go
Mhm.
watch
And then-
Desperado. We'll cover it too.
Yeah.
And also, he has a brother, kind of, who's played by Steve Buscemi. He has 2 brothers, but we'll talk about that one later. Who's played by Steve Buscemi. It's like you have a very big network of people you could have relied on, buddy.
But this
Right.
this is like they should have made like the mariachi video game. Like this is like such a video game ass world to just like you want to shoot guys with a guitar case, you know, and I'm sad
Yeah.
they never
Yeah.
did it. You
And
know?
so,
Maybe.
but yeah. And so I think, but it is funny. Like in the sequel, he has his hand back. There's just like a huge scar right here, and it's implied that it hurt the nerves, and so he can't play as well, which is still the same thing without having to have him have a metal arm the entire second and third movie, because he also then they go on to make Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which is the final film in the Mariachi trilogy. But yeah, no, I think this movie. I mean, it's you don't really need to see it to see Desperado. I kind of look at it as like Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, where you
It's
get
a remake
enough.
slash sequel, kind of. Yeah.
Right.
You get enough of the information from the second one. But I do think this movie is really cool, especially to see like how much he did. Because like we were saying, you know, you think of the first film, even last ones is kind of more of a drama than anything else. But Desperado or El Mariachi is a legit action film. Like it's not a drama film with a couple of elements of action. It's like no, there's like more action scenes than any other kind of scene. And so I think it's just really cool what he was able to do with 7,000, what he was able to kind of like how the film looks, like everything looks authentic. The film is fun. It's like a good time. You don't have to know anything really about Mexico to understand it. Like it's just really fun. I think it's worth watching.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, it's
and you can just like see his raw talent.
It's snappy. Yeah, it's kind of like Duel, where you see, even though it's rough, you see like the flourishes that would be like in his like films later. It's like all the ingredients are there. He just got more money to like kind of like achieve them.
Right. And like even some of the shots that look kind of weird, like there's like at the very beginning when they're busting him out of like the prison, like there's like not really a lot of stuff on the prison walls, and like there's like some of the shots where they're like going at the criminals with guns that you're like, it just kind of, if that movie had been shot by a Hollywood studio, they could have used that exact same camera angle and it would have looked a lot cooler. Right. But there's like some kind of like a disconnect where it's like using a low budget camera to show that same shot really shows you that you're watching a low budget movie, which is why I was saying earlier that like throughout the filming of the film, you can tell that he kind of got better at like figuring out what camera angles to use, like with his budget constraints. But like even that being said, it's like everything that he's doing right here is what he's going to keep on getting better at, which is all we were talking about with Spielberg and like the flourishes that will become something else. And I don't know, it's crazy what he was able to do, like just budget. Like, it's just like really.
It's kind of funny too to see like, you know, you see a lot of these like Christopher Nolan also started with a very small film, where you have David Lynch who started with these movies they self-financed, or myself as well, and they kind of like they look at these films and they're like, oh, look what I can do with so little. And then like Nolan has been a big proponent of practical effects and making things in camera, and he credits a lot of that to the fact that he made Following kind of by himself, doing whatever it took, you know, like, oh, let me show it. But Rodriguez almost went the different way, where like when he wanted to make Sin City, or he wanted to make a Mexican kids film and every studio turned him down, he knew he could already make a film. So he's like, oh, well, I'm just going to make it myself. And he ended up building a studio in Austin, and that's how he made Spy Kids. And by the third Spy Kids, it's like all on computer screens. And the same thing with Sin City, when they told him that making a movie that will look like the Sin City comic book is going to be too expensive, he was like, he did. If you've ever watched the movie Sin City, and we'll cover it too eventually, but the very first scene of that movie was actually a camera test that Robert Rodriguez made to see if he could make it by himself, like, well, with his, by that point with his staff, but with his own production company, to make it look like the comic books, not look like, oh, Sin City taking place in the real world, but looking like the comic book had come to life in the real world. And again, that movie was super successful. And it was kind of that thing where it taught Robert Rodriguez that to not take no for an answer, which I think is very important as any filmmaker, not just ones who want to do it themselves. But it's that thing where it's like filmmaking, as we know, is a lot of people telling you no. When we were making the last ones, we had me and William, we had our professors tell us that they didn't think it was a good idea for us to make it. They thought that we shouldn't do it, we should wait and stuff. And we know people, I mean, some of our professors are still waiting. They're still waiting to make that movie. And it's like, we could have waited. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, you should just jump into a movie right now. But I think it's like you have to know when you're ready to take that challenge. And when you're, and like Robert Rodriguez, like Christopher Nolan, like Andrew Hatta, William Murdoch, Joshua Ed, you have to, once you decide to go down that path, you got to go all the way. Like, again, once he got into Sundance, he needed American subtitle or English subtitles because people were not going to learn Spanish to watch his movie. And he
Right.
didn't have the money to spend $7,000 to make subtitles, so he went into that room, he made it himself, and it's like again, the industry's a no. Like, no, you can't make this mariachi
Mhm.
movie. No, you can't make it all in Spanish. No, you can't add subtitles without it costing money. And it's like you have to know when you take that no as an answer and when you say yes. And so I think that hopefully the guys who are watching this, who watched the Dune one or the Duel one last week, like are seeing that like these directors it's not just that they're talented, it's also that they're willing to like have that drive to go to
Right.
Mexico.
The
Like
motivation.
a thing we didn't really
Yeah.
talk about is that Robert Rodriguez is not that good at speaking Spanish. He's like okay at it, but he knew
Yeah.
that like, and I think that helps too because it makes it really easy to understand Spanish. Because again, it's all very simple. Um, and so again, he could have stopped when he had to go to Mexico. He could have stopped when he had to do drug trials to get the budget of this film,
Right.
and he didn't. He kept going, and now he's making Alita and he's making the Boba Fett show. So like, I'm not saying you should do it yourself. I'm a big proponent of doing it yourself, but I think there is a certain part of you that any part of film, like you cannot wait for someone to tell you to do it.
You need
have
that
to
drive. You
need
have
that
to like.
drive.
Right.
You can't just
Yeah.
be like, oh, I'm waiting for the right conditions because
Yeah.
it'll never happen. There'll never
Yeah.
be the right conditions, you know.
You can't just walk along
Exactly. Yeah.
the road all day. Eventually, you have to stop for the free coconut and get it.
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
moral of the
See a
story.
beautiful turtle walk across.
Yeah, accept the coconut, guys. That's gonna be our motto for this podcast.
Take the coconut.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you. Next week we're gonna watch one of the most weirdest movies I think we've ever covered on here from one of the most amazing directors of all time. And so you'll have to join us. That was also that movie. I'll give you a little hint. It also cost about $7,000, but it took like 10 years to make. One of my favorite
Right.
parts is
Right.
that someone goes to a door and then they walked in that door 2 years later because that's how long it
Yeah.
and so we'll see you guys next week as we continue our first for directors. I thought of that 2 weeks in. Thank you guys. We'll see you
Very
next
good.
week on the Bomb Squad.